Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hello and welcome back to Eva's House of Spirit. I'm Eva, and this is going to be another VR video. I just got done watching a video from the channel here on YouTube known as Mywitchyside. On that channel, Strega Bella had done a video where she spoke about the topic of when people sort of ask or consider or debate, whether people are supposedly real witches. And now, I will say, I watched the video from beginning to end. A lot of the points she made, I agreed with. Ultimately, my feeling on the subject of that whole question of, are you a real witch? My whole feeling is sort of kind of in line with what she was saying overall. Who is anyone really to question the authenticity of anyone's being or lifestyle or faith? Also, though, there was one thing that I sort of disagreed with a little bit. She did say, Strega Bella did say in her video that today she kind of like generalized a little bit, and she said people tend to not be so concerned about like their roots. They tend to feel not as driven to be so connected, or they don't feel that their roots define them as much. At least that's how I understood what she was saying in that one little bit of the video. I do want to beg to differ with that. I think maybe some people don't feel as connected to their roots. Maybe more people than in history. I think going back in history, maybe it was more common for people to feel defined by their blood heritage, their nationality, their roots, Yes, in modern times, I think more people, especially in America here, as she said, it's a melting pot. More people, I think, do sort of just feel like they are themselves and they don't feel as driven by their roots. But there are some people that are still quite connected to their heritage. They feel very, very strong bonds and ties, and it's very important to them to sort of maintain their culture. I know that for me, as a Portuguese person, it is important to me, a sense of nationality. I like to try, and as much as I'm able, I try to maintain some cultural tie, to my people when I can, how I can. It's not very easy though, because I've never been to my country. I live in a place where there really aren't a lot of Portuguese people living in the area in general. But I do what I can to sort of maintain a connection to my culture. There are other people too, not everybody, but there are other people too that culture is important, and blood is important. But I think regardless, I think the point she was trying to make was, just because you may have been born to a certain culture or family or whatever, doesn't define you necessarily. I think she was trying to say it is your choice whether you sort of embrace your background or not. It's really an ultimately personal choice. Some people do, and some people, they just don't feel really a connection. I mean, I know some people that I've spoken to, and I'm like, oh, don't you feel really a sense of sort of heritage or nationality or anything like that with your your let's say family's country of origin? And I've heard some people say, no, I just kind of consider myself American, and they're like, I'm just me. Or they're like, I've heard some people say, oh, I'm just human, you know, and that, hey, if that's how they feel. Me personally, um, I love that I'm Portuguese, you know, it's something that I personally feel like, oh, that's great, you know, and it gives me, personally, it gives me a sort of sense of a family on a greater scale, you know, and I know there are other people in the world that with their nationalities or countries of familial origin, you know, things like that. They feel very like, oh, that's special to me, you know. So when they describe themselves, you know, they may say things like how I, for example, will say, oh, I'm a first generation American, you know, like I was born here, but my family, they had come over here from Portugal, of course, legally. Um, and, you know, I was born here, but I was the first generation to be born here. So, you know, I like to often say, oh, I'm first generation American, you know, I'm Portuguese American, you know, because my family is Portuguese. So, but regardless, anyway, back to the subject of what Strega Bella was talking about. I just wanted to say there are some people that do feel very connected to their lineage or their background or, you know, that whole blood tie thing. But I think, you know what? I don't think there's anything inherently wrong in the case of, you know, the witch question, you know, the question of authenticity, supposedly. Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with some people feeling that being born into a family of witches is great, where others may feel, I think that's great too, you know, but if you're not, that's fine as well, you know, because there's nothing to say that if you're not born into a family of witches that you're not somehow authentic. I think you're just as authentic. It's just, you know, different situations, different people's lives kind of play out differently. What's to say that you weren't a witch in a past life and that therefore in this life maybe that's why you were drawn to this, you know? I mean, who's to say? Um, or even if not, who cares? You know, I personally believe um, pretty much what Strega Bella I think was trying to say. And I think what she was trying to say is like who has the right really to question the authenticity of another, you know, different strokes for different folks. Personally, that resonates with me a lot. You know, I feel you know, go where you're led, kind of like I sort of said ultimately in I have a video. I'll link that below along with Strega Bella's video from my Witchyside. I have a video where I spoke a while back about, you know, magic and your roots, you know, how some people feel it's very important, you know, to, let's say, practice in a path that is from one's, you know, national or cultural background, where other people feel it's not as important. Personally, I feel, you know what, go where you're led. You know, where you need to be, you will be led there. It doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter. It's not about other people. You know, your path, your journey, your um, your own personal experience as a witch or a magical practitioner, however you personally describe yourself. Really, that's only it's about you. It's not about other people. So I do feel, you know, go your own way, go where you're led. Don't worry if other people are going to sit there. And I know it's easy to say, don't worry if other people are going to sit there and question you. Because, you know, it can, like Strega Bella was saying, you know, it can make people feel sort of uncertain or it can, like she said, damage people's, you know, sort of perceptions of themselves and their, you know, it can really cause a lot of inner turmoil for someone if they feel that they're, you know, sort of invalidated in the eyes of other people. I could definitely, I could see where that, you know, yeah, that makes sense, you know. I mean, hey, take people that are bullied, you know, on a constant basis, which essentially having people invalidate you is a form of bullying. Um, there are a lot of people that, you know, when they get picked on like that, when people do begin to kind of like, you know, get in on them about who they are or what they do, that can be very hurtful. So yeah, I think Strega Bella was right there as well. But I just wanted to come on in VR and just, you know, say ultimately, you know, I do agree with what she was saying, but I did want to throw in that one little bit when she was talking about you know, blood, you know, not really. being important to people in general anymore. I think to a degree, yeah, it's not important to some people, many people, but there are still people that it is important to. And I think it's fine if it's important to you or not. I think regardless, people really should just worry about themselves, you know? Don't worry about if someone else is authentic, or, you know, if someone else is doing things right, or what path someone else is on. It doesn't matter. What matters is, where are you? What are you doing with your own life? You know what I mean? Um, people should, I think, really worry about their own situations in all senses, really. I mean, not that you can't ever care about someone or whatever, or be interested in someone else's life, but you know what? Ultimately, each of us, we're born into the world. You know, we each come in individually, unless you're like a twin. But even still, even twins, you know, you really, even though you're born in a pair, or even triplets or whatever, your life experience, your experience as a human being, as a live sentient creature, it really is a a solitary experience, as much as you may be connected to someone else. You know, we may have friends, loved ones, whatever, but ultimately, our lives, our experiences, our journeys are ultimately our own. So therefore, I think we should not, or how can we, really turn around and try to dictate or direct the course of someone else's journey. That's really no one's place to do. You know, the only people that we really, I think, deservedly have a say in, you know, where the journey goes, or how the journey goes, or what is done on that journey, is really our own, you know. So if we have no right really to try and captain someone else's journey, then hey, you know what? Why are we wasting our focus there, making people feel horrible, you know, by questioning, you know, when some people say things like, "Are you a real witch?" You know, instead, look inward. Don't be worried about what's out there. Worry about what's in here, you know what I mean? And worry about your own situation. Worry about your own journey, I think. So this is pretty much just, these are just some little thoughts I just wanted to kind of contribute to the conversation. And with that, I wish you blessed be and ashe. If you want to contribute to the conversation, you can comment below, you know, whatever you feel you want to bring forward. I do recommend, though, that you go down and watch Strega Bella's video. And I'm also, like I said, I'm going to have my other video where I talked about roots and magic. You can check that out, too, if you're interested. And other than that, I guess, you know, have a great night, stay awesome, and till next time, bye-bye for now.